before. Oh.
Well, they're supposed to be coming. Pam,
if it makes it feel better, we have a dedicated WebEx room here, and sometimes it doesn't work. Like with the city of Virginia Beach, it never works.
Oh, he's gonna Zoom too.
Huh. So I will ask Dr. Red and Dr. Palm what they want to do. For those of us who can't get into the meeting, we can pull up Diligent and follow the speakers. You know, we just won't be able to see them.
Good morning.
Yes. Good morning.
Okay. First of all, is there anyone else who's having trouble getting into Diligent?
I'm fine getting into Diligent. I can't get into the WebEx.
WebEx meeting. Is there anyone else that you know of? Okay. All right. I sent the link again to several members this morning. So will you please try?
Yes. I'm going to work, so I got to go to Petersburg. Yeah.
I am not. Okay, so go back out and. I do. We'll give it a go.
Click on that link, please.
Okay. It's spinning. It's still spinning.
Mr. Harris will call you in a moment.
Okay, if Mr. Harris calls me, I have to sign off of being on, I guess.
You can call your home number?
I just have cell.
Okay.
My internet at home is working just fine. I've checked that. I've been trying to get in for about 10 minutes, 15 minutes.
He's calling you on your other line. Calling you.
Okay, let me see if I can manage this. I'm not very competent. Oh, okay, so I'm gonna go to the same link. Um, okay. Okay. Oh, I gotta join first. Enter in the meeting. Okay. Invalid password. So it's really got. Let me see on the invitation. Q2A, that sounds like what? Yeah. Yeah, I can do it. No, let me do it from what I'm seeing. Sounds like. Okay. I am joining the meeting. Starting your meeting, connecting. Now it's connecting again with the spinning. It is. That's what we do. The app, I think this time I just did it through the browser. I do because I typed in, but I have the app. Yeah. So it should automatically do that. You mean on my Mac? Why can't I just quit? Okay. I forget on my Mac. I never do it on my Mac. I have all control delete for the regular, the command control delete.
to the technology keyboard on the screen. So restart or shut down or force quit. I should have just come to campus. It has worked really well for me every other time.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
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 I was having trouble with my sound, so I was just testing, making sure I was in and could hear. Thank you, everybody.
Okay, Ms. Curry, your mic is muted.
Okay, how about now?
Very good. All right.
I sincerely apologize. There was something in my computer that we had to restart. And anyway, we'll just go ahead. Did you all do anything in my absence?
We waited.
Oh, okay. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Okay, let's call the meeting to order. And Dr. Redd, could you do a roll call for us?
Yes, ma'am. Good
Thank
morning.
you.
Good morning.
Pam Curry,
Here.
Dr. Christine Dawson,
Present.
Mr. Charlie Hill,
Present and accounted for.
Mr. William Murray,
Here.
Mr. Xavier Richardson,
Present.
Mr. Wayne Turnage, Mr. Gregory Worley,
Here.
and we would like to acknowledge other board members who have joined us. Dr. Valerie Brown
Here.
and Mr. Glenn Stetson,
Here.
and our rector, Mr. Ron Winstead.
Good morning.
Are there any other board members? Okay. We'd also like to acknowledge, excuse me. We would also like to acknowledge Dr. and please excuse me, Yabanu, our faculty representative,
Yes, here.
and Cameron Gray, our student representative.
Good morning. Morning.
Madam Chair, that is the roll call. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Then I had trouble with audio, so can you hear me on this all right?
Yes.
Okay, all right. If we could have the invocation now.
Will you join me? Most gracious Creator, we thank you for another day. We thank you that we have been brought into the safety of this new day. We give thanks that as we start this meeting, we pray that we will walk in wisdom and respect of one another, and that as we make decisions today, that the decisions will be made best for the body of Virginia State University. Continue to keep everyone, continue to bless their coming and their going. It's in the name of our collective faith. Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much. You all had the agenda in your meeting materials. Are there any corrections, additions, deletions that need to be made? If not, I'd take a motion for the approval of the agenda.
Madam Chair, I move
So
to
moved.
approve the agenda.
Thank you. And a second?
Second.
Thank you. All righty. The meeting minutes were available within Diligent. If you've had a chance to review them, are there any changes, additions, or deletions? Hearing none, I'd take a motion.
I move approval, Madam Chair.
Second.
Thank you. Do we need a roll call on that, Dr. Redd?
Yes. And I would like to ask board members to please identify yourselves.
Your mic is on.
Yes, ma'am, we will. I would like
Okay.
to ask board members when they make motions and or seconds to please identify yourselves so that I can record your name. Thank you.
Greg Worley made the motion.
And Bill Murray seconded.
Thank you. Okay. Ready for the roll call?
Yes.
Ms. Curry?
Yes.
Dr. Darden,
Yes.
Mr. Hill,
Yes.
Mr. Murray,
Yes.
Mr. Richardson, Mr. Richardson, Mr. Worley,
Yes.
Attorney is absent. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Red. Mr. President, I'm sure you have things to tell us.
I don't have any remarks at this time. I think the agenda is full, and so I'll pass it back to you, Madam Chair.
Okay, that sounds good. And again, I apologize for the delay. Dr. Palm, I think we talked about going ahead and having the Virginia State Public Health Institute do their presentation at this point.
Yes, good morning, everyone. Good morning, Madam Chair. Good morning, Mr. Rector and Vice Rector and the rest of the Board of Visitors. It is my pleasure to bring forward Dr. Kimberly Boyd, who is the Chair of the Psychology Department, as well as the Interim Assistant Dean in the College of Natural and Health Sciences. She's going to bring to you a brief presentation of the newly developed Virginia State Institute of Health. Again, just to give a brief overview of some of the great things that we're doing here at Virginia State University.
Thank you so much for joining us. I've asked Dr. Palm to help us sort of highlight either a faculty member or a program or initiative at the university that we really want to highlight at each meeting so that we get a better understanding of what all Virginia State is contributing to the community and to the body of knowledge. So this seemed a perfect time to have this institute, and I'd like to thank everyone involved with it for the impact you're having and going to have. Thank you.
Can everyone see the PowerPoint?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. I'm excited today to present the VSU Public Health Institute. Okay. So for the agenda, we're going to talk about the VSU leadership team, the steering committee, the advisory committee, key information and background, so making sure we cover the mission, vision, and values, the timeline, our next steps, and then open for any questions. So the VSU Public Health Institute was created under the executive sponsorship of Dr. Palm. We worked closely together, Dr. Kawachi Clemens, Dr. Henderson, and myself, and it was such an honor to be on such a wonderful team. So we came together with a team goal. And our charge was to establish enhanced academic programs that deliver distinctive, responsive, innovative offerings, but really to make sure that we produce leaders and scholars. And what would that look like? So, to accomplish this, the first thing we did was work with a steering committee across Virginia State University. And the committee was made up of individuals that had strong research, publications, and a link to the community related to public health. Oh, the other thing I wanted to mention about the steering committee is we made sure it was cross-discipline so that we could ensure that we had everybody represented. In addition to that, we actually worked with an advisory committee membership made up of individuals that we felt like were the type of leaders that we wanted our students to aspire to become. So what the advisory committee included was external public health experts. We also wanted to make sure that it was individuals that could expand our resources and provide opportunity for networking. And finally, we wanted to ensure that the advisory committee also linked to the current times and linked to align with opportunities that are currently out in the public related to public health. The other goal was to make sure that we aligned the VSU Public Health Institute with our university's 2025 strategic plan. And I'll go into more detail. So, all of this meant that we had an initial strategy that was to advance our infrastructure, align with SHARE and FACT, develop strong research programs and agendas that link to opportunities, and establish partnerships. And I'm so excited about the VSU Public Health Institute because already we submitted our first proposal that linked with Central State Hospital, Minority Health Consortium, Bind Secure Mercy Health System, the City of Petersburg Mayor, Chesterfield County administrators, and various medical professionals. So I'm staying within my 20 minutes. So I just want to hear that our goal is to elevate VSU's profile in research and health services. So we wanted practical experiences for students, faculty. We wanted to have outreach with our community. Which brings me to the most important slide, our mission, to address health, to enhance academic programs, to increase the public health workforce, to have strong research agendas and develop leaders with a vision of providing resources to our communities, resources that are linked to our current educational opportunities, the research we can provide, and our outreach to community. Our value is to have innovative curriculum, to focus on health disparities, equity, and diversity, but inclusion, and to develop partnerships for marginalized communities, minority communities, and just address any health disparities that currently exist. Actually, that was a timely interruption because it gave you a chance to look at our mission, values, and vision. So key milestones. We started this process in January 2021. By March, we actually had approval for the VSU Public Health Institute, and we're so excited for what we'll be able to do this summer. We'll start working on public health certification. We'll start working up advanced curriculum. We've already submitted one proposal and another one due in May related to the Institute. But our actual milestones, which is in the actual document, include 75% of students and faculty and that's a part of the Institute will present posters at regional and national conferences. 1 to 2 new courses or enhanced courses will be offered related to public health each year. We're developing a 3-tier mentorship program that focuses on undergrad to graduate students to faculty experts. 25% of our students will publish that's linked to the Public Health Institute. We believe that the Institute is both innovative We have innovative technologies included. We have intimate interactions with experts, and our goal is to build data-driven strategy. And it's okay now. Thank you so much. Okay, so our next step, the public health certification this summer. Next year, we want to have a bachelor's degree in public health with a pipeline to medical school. It's so very needed. The year after that, we want a master's in public health and a doctorate in public health. The Institute includes 12 public health events or forums each year. This will link to the current vaccination site that's happening, the mobile vans where they're already reaching out, but we want to add more health screening. We want to add a mental health crisis triage. And again, all of these will link to some of the current grants and scholarships that's available. Before I take questions, I want to leave you with 3 bullet points if you think about the VSU Public Health Foundation. One is development of qualified mental and medical health professionals. This will increase the pipeline of students to medical schools and to other public health related workforce professionals. Number 2, I want to leave you with the idea of outreach. In this Public Health Institute, we're having proven technological innovation and mobile health units focused on moving out into the community. We also included interactive learning environments, which is mindfulness-based therapies, cognitive-based therapies, and health screening. Finally, the third thing I would like to leave you with is the wonderful idea of having boots around in our communities. We'll have crisis teams to address mental health, substance use, and influence environmental responses to chronic diseases. All done. I'll take any questions in my time.
Thank you, Dr. Boyd. Are there any questions for Dr. Boyd or comments? Okay, well, Dr. Boyd, thank you for what you all are doing, and keep going with this. It is very timely.
Thank you, and thank you for giving me a moment to present the VSU Public Health Institute.
Thank you. I think we're going to move on to reports and recommendations, and we'll be starting out with Mr. Hall on enrollment management.
Yes, this is Curry again. I just want to also just give you an outline for the agenda moving forward. Of course, we have 5 action items for approval. I just heard from the Virginia State University Public Health Institute. Mr. Hall will come forward to talk about enrollment management. Dr. Corley, who I didn't have on the actual front flag, will give us an update on COVID-19. We'll go through some performance updates, new program, ESU innovation program, and then of course, Regina will come forward with student success and engagement.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Palm.
Great morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Having some allergy issues. We're going to make it through, though, so we're encouraged and excited to be here this morning. So the admissions report, we'll go through, you're looking at the number of admitted students, engaged students, deposits, as we do every year. So the number of admitted students, you'll see there's a significant decrease in the number of admitted students thus far for fall 21 compared to the previous 2 years. I think that's indicative across the state and the nation that the applications are down. We're encouraged with the progress that we're making with the engaged students. So those engaged students, once again, are the students who have been admitted, and they've reached out to the university to request more information, financial aid, academic, student life. So even though we have fewer admitted students, we have a higher number or on par with the previous years of engaged students. You also notice that the deposits are slightly up. This is last week's numbers, and this trend is holding true for this week, that we are in line with fall of 20 with the number of deposits that we have. So we ended fall of 2019 with 71 validated students and about 892 for fall 20, of course, due to the pandemic. So we're encouraged by these numbers. We're looking down at the transfer numbers. We're kind of flat there with the admitted students, also the engaged students, and deposits are flat. So we're making some leeway in that area as well that I'll speak about in a future slide. But those are the numbers we're encouraged moving forward for the fall of 2020. Were there any questions about this slide?
Ms. Hall, I was just curious, why were the admits down from the previous year?
Fewer applications this year. We started one of our programs a little later as well. So those applications went out a little later. But across the country, you're seeing a lot of institutions. There's one institution that's in the news quite frequently that their applications are up, but that's not the landscape across Virginia. So at the end of this year, we'll see that most of the schools in the Commonwealth are experiencing a decrease in the number of admitted students.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So the next slide, so this slide was a week, we do it the first of the month. So this is April 7th data. Just really just trying to give you an idea of what we're moving as far as the yield. So the yield would be the number of admitted students versus deposits. And this is really what we look at when we get to the fall. That final number is the yield. How many students did we admit versus how many in our case were validated, which is really in line with the number of deposited students. So you'll notice the last three columns, 19 and 20, at this point, we're about at 3.2 and a 2.9% yield. At this point now, we're about a 4.6 yield. And that's really what we talk about when we talk about engaging with the faculty, staff, and the alum, is how to increase the yield. And so we've been successful this year with getting the yield up. And just checking my email this morning, corresponding with some faculty members who are doing a great job, talking to students, engaging with students, and that's what we want. So we're seeing the fruits of the labor of the admissions team, but more importantly, with the faculty and the alum. I think I get an email or text almost every day with someone at the university bringing a student to my attention that they've corresponded with, and that's what it takes as part of the recruitment team. So we make them some official deputies in the admissions office to make sure that we can get those students in for the fall 2021. So just a few updates on the interactive campus map and virtual tour, VCAN, the Virginia College Affordability Network, the enrollment team, and some events that we plan to do and things that we've done. So if you see this beautiful map here, this was kind of the map that we were using for a while at the university. Not so great, it's kind of cartoonish, but it got the job done. But we did actually complete, my team, Patrice Walden and Angela Diggs are working on the project. The aerial shots are completed of campus. So right now they're gonna do an on-campus photo shoot on May 10th and the 11th. So we're actually gonna do shots of campus. We'll also do the video of the student leaders across campus doing the actual virtual tour. So the students will be doing a virtual tour that'll be available online. Also, we'll do some panoramic pictures. We'll do some interior shots of some of the buildings as well. So it'll be a really full-blown campus tour. And so we're really excited about that part of the project. And kind of this image is kind of what we're looking at, this direction of campus. This is one of the many photos. They came, there are probably hundreds of photos that we had to choose from, but this is one of the ones we're working with. Of course, it'll be zoomed in, but you'll be able to see campus from this view. And students will be able to navigate around the campus and look at the buildings and do the virtual tour. So super excited. This is something we've been hoping for a while. And so we're looking at the early fall optimistic approach to getting that out online for the students and the community. And so we know that once we talk to students, they say if they come on a campus tour, they're likely to attend the university. So we don't want to be the hidden jewel. We want to show everyone what we're doing down here at Virginia State. And this is a great way to promote those opportunities and the campus. And so in addition, we will have an aerial of the farm as well. So we'll do the entire campus. So everything will be included for students to take a look at. So we're really excited about that. Really excited about VCAN. We actually went out, VCAN, let me back up. We're awarding free tuition and fees for students who are Pell eligible but live within 25 miles of campus. So we've really been hitting the ground running, working with my team, Myra, Phillips, Adrian, and the budget office to really get this going. Also, Mr. Burden, Elton Burden, has been working on this program. So reaching out to students in 25 miles who are Pell eligible to get those students an opportunity to have no cost education. And so this is a picture we had, I think last week in the Welcome Center where some students came to campus and we presented them with a check, not a real check, we let them know that, but the money will be on their award letter. So we're excited, and I'll tell you that one of my best friends at the university, Ms. Gertrude Taylor, is she's on my speed dial, and she is so excited about the opportunity for these students, and so she got 3 other students to come to campus in a moment's notice, and they were so excited. And we put out, working with Dr. Dandridge, we actually put out a press release. We've got some good hits. One just came in this morning. CBS 6 wants to interview one of our students for a series they have called Better Minds. So we're excited. We've put out 150 offers to students. We have at least 150 more. We're trying to get those students in and place for the fall semester. So it's going well, and we're excited about things moving forward. With any questions, Ken?
Mr. Hall, I did see some of the press and that all looks good. One of the things that I think there'd been interest in at the last meeting was whether there could be any reciprocity. Is it allowed within the program parameters from the state with Norfolk State and their 25-mile radius? Or
Yeah, so I actually sent an email to Adrian yesterday. We're going to try to get a meeting with them just to fine tune, to make sure that we're exploring every avenue for VCAN. So I did send that email out to her. We're working to see within those parameters what we can do, yeah.
okay, I think the point had been made that sometimes kids don't want to be in the backyard of their home, so that, you know, if you accomplish the same, if the argument could be made to the state folks that you could accomplish the same things by allowing the 2 institutions to share and see how that goes. I know the committee was interested in that.
Right. Yeah, we'll definitely get right on that. That's a great opportunity for our students.
Thank you.
Thank you. So we have a new enrollment team. Our director of the transfer center actually started last month, Mr. Gordon. So that's what I was speaking about. He's already hitting the ground running, getting students involved, and really just increasing the level of connection with our students. So excited to have them on board. Our executive director of admissions will start on Monday. Mr. Garrett will start on Monday. So we're excited to hear a lot of innovative ideas about communication and social media. So he's really excited. He actually posted on Facebook the other day kind of a Superman video of him unveiling his Virginia State University shirt. So one of those guys. He's one of those guys. So I'm excited to have them on board. Our director of VCAN and Strategic Initiatives, I'm really excited. So she verbally accepted yesterday.
Okay.
So strategic initiatives are really putting forth influence initiatives on increasing our diversity, specifically in the Latinx community. And so this young lady has great experience with Valhan and a lot of organizations in Virginia to do that. So we're excited, especially tying that into VCAN, because we have quite a few students in Chesterfield County County who we feel can benefit from VCAN as well. And also a bilingual multicultural counselor who we're looking to sign to come on board as well. So really developing the team, so super excited about the people coming in and the great work that we'll be doing in the future. Some of the events we have going on, virtual events, college fairs, admissions, financial aid. We actually had a VCAN webinar, virtual open houses coming on board. We're doing in-person campus tours. We'll roll it out to the full community. We're looking to do that in May to have that online. They'll be small. We're getting a lot of requests, so we're trying to definitely make sure we keep it socially distanced. So those are actually happening this week and last week. So we're excited, some students on campus. Actually, one student came from Nevada to campus on a campus tour, met with some faculty in the engineering department, sent me an email last night saying, I'm excited to come, how do I make my deposit? So really great things once students get on campus, so we want to increase that opportunity. Transfers, I mentioned open house and counselor outreach. We actually did in conjunction with the Top Order Alumni Chapter, an outreach event. And it went really well. We had some students on there, and the alumni really spoke about their experiences at the university. They provided students with direct contact information of how to get them engaged before they start and even after they graduate. So that was a great event, and we look to continue to do those types of events with the alum. And that's all I have for you. Any questions?
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I do have a question. This is Greg. Mr. Hall, on the minutes that we just approved, and I think it was on page 3 of the minutes, it was stated that you felt that our enrollment at that time for, and I'm not certain if it was fall or the total enrollment, would be lower than the last 2 previous years. Are you sticking with that estimate, or have you changed your views on that?
Well, we're projecting a flat enrollment for the university for the fall of 2021.
You're projecting a flat enrollment.
Yes.
And how about the spring?
Spring of 2022?
Yes.
I think that we'll be flat in both of those terms. You know, as I mentioned before, I think we're making great progress for the freshman class. And any increase in the enrollment for the freshman and transfer students could impact that enrollment, but the overall prediction will be a flat enrollment for the fall of 2021. That academic school year, I guess you could say 21-22.
Okay, the reason I was asking a question, because I know when we get to the Finance Committee meeting, there's a projection that our enrollment may be increasing. And I just want to make certain that I had your take on that. And if I've gotten that, if I have that incorrect, then maybe someone might want to jump in and add some more explanation to that.
So our overall enrollment would be a combination of what Mr. Hall talks about with the new admits, with the freshmen and the continuing students. If I'm getting that wrong, correct me, Mr. Hall. So Mr. Palm may want to speak to that, or Dr. Palm may want to speak to that.
And maybe I have it wrong, but I think one of our budget assumptions in the Finance Committee is that our enrollment is increasing 10% over last year.
Right.
And I wanted to make certain that I understood Mr. Hall's perspective on that, so that I'll know how to address that when we get to the Finance Committee meeting.
This is Dr. Palm here.
Yes.
It's my opinion that the budget actually was not increased from last year. And so again, those implications I believe maybe are mistaken. I'm thinking that we're budgeting close to 3,800 students.
Yes, sir. Mr. World, this is Mcclain Abdullah. Yes, we are projecting flat enrollment, but the budgeted enrollment is actually a less of a head count than it was in the fall of 2020. And so we're not budgeting an increase in enrollment.
Okay, thank you. I'll just cover that when we get to the Finance Committee meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Worley. Thank you, Dr. Palm. Thank you, Mr. Hall. Appreciate the presentation on enrollment. I'm very excited about the team. I think there's been such a need for resources in this area and for the types of approaches. You know me and transfer, I'm very excited about having somebody on the transfer center very focused on that. And looking at new populations is a very positive thing. I think that's something that was in the strategic plan that we wanted to focus more on other populations. So kudos to the management team for doing that. Dr. Palm, we have we have 5 approval items, and I think 4 of them have to be in closed session because they're personnel related. Do we want to go straight to that, or how would you like us to proceed?
Maybe we should, we have a few more items to go through, and then I would like to maybe just reach out to you before we finish all the items, if that's okay?
Okay, you lead us on.
All right, thank you very much. So next, I want to give a brief update of our shared performance measures, just some of the next steps as we move forward with the new targets that we want to project for the next 5 years. Just to recap, back in fall of 2020, we received a report from Chev that Virginia State University fell short on some of the actual performance measures. Simultaneous with that report, we also received a notice of probation for some of the financial audit issues with our financial administrative areas. I just want to be very clear that the probation was not due to the education performance measures. Subsequently, Chev requested that Virginia State University, regarding the education performance measures, put together a corrective action plan, in which we did. And really taking on the process of putting together the corrective action plan, we dove down to what was the root cause of us not meeting some of those particular metrics that we projected. And we found 2 things. One was that we were very overzealous and ambitious with regard to the targets that we projected. Second, we also identified that we had lost enrollment with regards to that, which led to, again, not us meeting those particular metrics. In putting together the corrective action plan, we made sure that we put together a plan to leverage our data analytics, as well as some of the best practices with retention, progression, and graduation rates, all put together in that plan. With that being said, knowing that our impact of not hitting the actual marks was due to being overzealous, as well as, again, a decrease in enrollment, that report that came out in fall 20, of course, we fell short. And also the additional report that will come out in fall 22, which is part of this cycle, will also be short with regards to hitting some of these metrics. Moving forward, the next cycle metrics are due May 1st of this year. Dr. Minnis is working right now very, very diligently with Todd Massa of Chev to actually come up with our projected target. We're leveraging our data analytics, as well as some of the best techniques that we have with regards to retention, progression, and graduation rates to make sure that we hit these targets as we move forward. The actual first report for this next cycle, which will start in 2021, will actually be 2024. The reports are usually 2 years after the data is actually accumulated. So we're looking very, very much forward to our next cycle, our next opportunity to come up with our projections and making sure that we hit those projections as we move forward. I'll pause right there if there's any questions as far as our next steps with the performance measures. That being said, I'm going to move on to our COVID-19 update. I'm going to ask Dr. Corley to come forward. Dr. Corley and his team is doing an outstanding job with making sure that campus is staying safe amidst this COVID-19 outbreak. Dr. Corley, if you want to just also mention a little bit about your team and then go ahead into your report. Thank you, sir.
Good morning. Madam Chair, President Dula, Provost Palm, distinguished members of the board, VSU campus community. I want to give a brief update and a few highlights about some excellent work that's taking place. First, I wanted to thank the entire COVID response team for their efforts made up of multiple individuals across the campus, and they work tirelessly to make sure that they can keep us safe. The slides are not. Thank you. So as of, I want to give a quick update and give a thanks to Mr. Harris for his leadership. As of April 1st, we have been able to begin providing vaccines for our faculty and staff. And as of April 17th, we began to also avail those services to our students. April 19th, 2021, we have performed over 5,773 COVID-19 tests. Since January, we recorded a total of 82 positive cases on our campus. We had an overall test positivity rate of 1.4. Last week, we performed 431 tests, recorded 3 new campus-related COVID-19 cases plus 1 self-report. This brought our active total to 5 for our weekly rate, and our weekly test positivity rate was at 0.7. We had 2 students who were isolated on campus, and we had 3 at their off-campus residence. Since COVID is not stagnant, we have not been stagnant. And so to this aim, we've continued our efforts to maintain the health and safety of our faculty and staff and students by having an authentic partnership with the Virginia Department of Health. I don't think any other school in the state has done this. We've actually entertained a state epidemiologist and her team. They visited our campus on April 1st. And the purpose was to make informed recommendations regarding containment, quarantine, infection, and control guidance. I'm happy to state that from that meeting, we had some very great remarks that came out of it. One was that they stated that VSU is hitting the mark and doing excellently well. They said that we were following guidelines appropriately, we were exercising proper measures, and that we were effective in following COVID-19 health and safety guidelines. They stated that our HVAC air quality was superior, and they commended VSU again for doing an excellent containment job and having excellent preventive measures. And again, they stated that we were hitting the mark and doing very well. Of course, there were a few minor recommendations that centered primarily around additional signage, some buildings and bathrooms, which we've already begun to attend to, and additional student education efforts. So again, on behalf of our committee, we thank you for entrusting the health and safety of our campus community into our hands. And we just acknowledge that it takes a village. And so this is all of our efforts, and we are very grateful for the great remarks that we had. At this time, if you have any questions, I'll answer them.
Dr. Corley, thank you for all of your efforts. And I just, I think part of enrollment going forward is going to be a feeling of comfort that parents and students and families can get. So hopefully we can highlight through all of your various media just how effective and above and beyond we are at Virginia State, and that the campus is a safe place and all these efforts are being taken. I think it'll be really key to helping us ensure enrollment going forward.
Thank you, ma'am.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, well, thank you so much.
Okay, I'll go ahead and continue, Visitor Curry. Again, I can't thank this COVID response team enough. Regina Barnett-Tyler, Dr. Danica Clemens, Peggy Davis, Jane Harris, of course, led by Dr. Corley. This team is not sleeping at night. They stay up and they're making sure that the campus is staying safe. Anything COVID related, they address. It comes through their committee, and through consensus, they move the university forward. Very, very excited about this report coming from the Virginia Department of Health and working together with the Virginia Department of Health. So very, very, very thankful for the work that this committee is doing. And again, just moving forward, we, the spring 2021 calendar, believe it or not, we're almost at the end. Of course, we had 2 Trojan Wellness Days, and the students definitely appreciated those wellness days because we did not have a spring break. Last day of class will be May 7th, and just also want to alert everyone that we are going to have a face-to-face spring commencement May 23rd. That's Sunday, May 23rd. We're looking at 2 commencements, and we'll be having it outside at the stadium. So we're very, very excited about it. The students are truly excited about it. And of course, we'll be having safe social distancing occurring during the commencement ceremony. Planning for the fall 2021. Of course, I'm going to activate the COVID-19.
Madam Chair.
Yes, sir.
I do have a question on that commencement.
Okay.
Now, is that commencement, is that going to be in Rogers Stadium?
Yes, sir.
And have we made provisions that if there's, what's our plan? Our plan if the weather is not amenable to us being able to hold it outside?
Yes, inclement weather.
Yes.
We have, again, we're working through this with the committee. One would be to have an alternate day for the commencement. In other words, we may have to do it on that Monday. But if not, we will go through with the commencement, even if there's inclement weather. We are planning to have ponchos on the seats for our students. And of course, the stage will be covered, but we'll have ponchos for the parents and the students, water bottles, hand sanitizer. We're actually going through the whole work. So we're hoping that we have good weather and not inclement weather during that day.
And all this complies with the how many people we can bring into one setting and all these rules that we have now about gatherings?
Yes, sir. And again, the committee is doing a great job. They have actually have a blueprint of how we're going to lay out the stadium. I think seats are going to have to be 10 feet apart. So 6 feet apart. I'm sorry.
They're about to change it to 6 feet apart.
Okay, all right. So we may be able to fit a few more people in the stadium, but originally it was 10 feet apart. But we're being guided through the state as well as the Department of Health on how we can actually pull this off very safely. One of the big issues that they were concerned about was not really the commencement ceremony, it's the celebration after the ceremony. So we are making sure that we have our public safety folks in order and in place that they can orderly have people exit the stadium. We're looking at, because of the limited space, because of social distancing, we're looking at having 2 commencement ceremonies on that day as well. So again, making sure that the students get the full impact of their experience, and also the parents are able to attend. We'll also have a live streaming of the event. We're planning to have those jumbotrons there as well. And again, we're going all out to make sure that we're providing the safety that we need for our students, family, faculty, staff.
So the whole commencement will be in Rogers Stadium. I know we used to hold those commencements in the stadium, but then used to go back to the various schools to hand out diplomas. So you're saying all of that's now going to be done in Rogers Stadium?
Yeah, so we looked at a number of different and the committee is doing a great job. They're still working through it. We had looked at a number of different alternatives. The biggest thing was the safety piece of it. And so I think the more efficient we can get students in and off campus, as well as providing their experience because of COVID-19, is going to be best for the safety of everyone. Instead of going back and mingling back at the college or these other different events that could occur. And again, as I mentioned before, the biggest issue was the celebrations that will be taking place afterwards.
Yeah, I think the guidance from the governor was up to 5,000 people and outdoor only. And I know I've seen press from the University of Virginia, Virginia Tech, William and Mary. They're all going to be outdoors and limited. Still just a different environment.
And I think that there was some conversation about non-social events having greater numbers. In other words, like performances and things that are not requiring social. So he's supposed to comment on that or make some changes, I think, sometime this week. So that might help as well.
Okay.
Yeah, and we're following guidance. We're in complete conversation with the Department of Education, as well as a couple conference calls a week to monitor and manage this whole process. And of course, we're hearing from our SGA president a lot also, some of the different ideas that they have also. So we enjoy the dialogue with the parents and the students on how we should. Thank you, Mr. Gregg. All right. Any more questions? Just moving on. So planning for the fall 2021, real briefly, we're going to activate the COVID-19 task force. We are planning to come back fully face-to-face with face-to-face classes. As I said, we are planning to, therefore we have to schedule our classes to be face-to-face for the fall. While activating the COVID-19 task force, we will be monitoring the data dealing with COVID-19. And what we know is that we are able to transition, and we did a great job last year. If we have to transition to hybrid, remote, or what have you, we'll do it closer to that time in August when we open up for our face-to-face classes as well. So students out here are somewhat wary about that, but they do understand that this is actually planning for 2021. We do not plan for the fall to be face-to-face. Our students will not return back because of all the classes being offered online. We also had a faculty advisement workshop to make sure that they understood, to make sure the students were registering or going to register for the appropriate classes, as well as let them remind the students that they will be face-to-face. And we also now have going on right now a fall 2021 registration campaign. My campaign is that 100% of our students get registered before they leave to go home for the spring.
Good.
Some new academic programs. Again, just an update on them. The MBA in Business Administration is actually at the final approval process at CHEV, which will take place in May. It has one start date. Our Master's of Data Analytics, same thing. It has the final approval process will take place in May with a start date of 2021.
Hello? This is a friendly reminder from the Hampton office of Dr. Naved Joffrey at OBGYN Associates in Hampton. An appointment is scheduled for Christine on Monday, April 26th at 2:30 p.m. Please press 1 to confirm that you will attend this appointment, or press 2 to request. Thank you. Your appointment is confirmed. Please arrive 15 minutes.
Are we back live?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or Memorex.
All right. Dr. Palm. Hello?
Okay, can you hear me now?
I can, thank you.
Okay, yeah, I said a lot of good things about you, Visitor Curry. I don't know if you heard me with regard to the new academic program. The MBA Business Administration program will, again, in the final stage of approval with SHEV, and that start date will be 2021, fall. Masters of Data Analytics, the same. Final approval process with SHEV, start date of 2021. Very excited that our Masters of Social Work has been approved by SHEV already, as well as SAC COC. And so we're ready to launch that program in the fall 2021. I know it'll go through some preliminary accreditation with the actual discipline itself. And then a final Masters of Education. We already have a Masters of Education, but we are committed to our strategic plan, in which we are actually moving the Masters of Education online. This is one of the action items that we have for the board to approve moving forward.
I'm excited for these. There's a lot of demand, I think, and I know we've got different board members who've been particularly engaged in seeing some of these occur. So thank you.
And so we are very excited about that. And again, it's lining exactly up with our strategic plan as we are happy to see it moving.
This is Xavier.
Yes, sir.
I agree with you, Madam Chair, that it's great to have these additional programs, and particularly the online program, because I know a lot of educators prefer to, and a lot of them have options to pursue their master's online. Was there any consideration for an online program for the Masters of Social Work as well? It seems like some programs are more conducive to online than others. Is that a possibility?
That is absolutely right. Dr. Gwen Thornton is working that through as we speak, as well as an online bachelor's program. And so we are very fortunate that our faculty, and I want to thank Dr. Chabano and the Faculty Senate, as well as the former administration for the Faculty Senate, for helping us push through the development for our faculty to learn how to teach online and be certified to teach online. We're at a very, very pivotal point at Virginia State University where now it's a matter of our faculty moving forward with putting some of their programs together to teach online. And so very, very excited about that. Again, most of the faculty were certified to teach over the summer when they were off contract. And so truly shows their commitment to Virginia State University. I want to thank also Dr. Tammy Mcclain Smith, our distance ed director, for help really managing that whole process. So you'll see more programs, and I have actually charged my deans and chairs to actually develop more online programs. And so there's a few in the works right now: criminal justice, political science. A number of those programs are actually working right now to get those programs all online, and also deliver face.
Great. You keep it up, maybe I'll get to become a VSU grad after all, if you keep these offerings online. Thank you.
We're also going to leverage, Visitor Richardson, the opportunity to put together a completion degree in which we, because our faculty now are credentialed to teach online, we're going to really open up the night and weekend offerings for those who are working who may not have ever completed Virginia State University. And so we're going to be very, very, very intentional on how we move that forward as well. So that'll be coming fairly soon.
Great.
Yeah, a night and weekend college. Real quick with the Innovation Award, and I'll get out your way. Again, the work to put together the committee for the Innovation Award is actually taking place. The committee has met. I want to thank Dr. Chabano and a number of different faculty, staff, and students for being part of this Innovation Award Committee. This, of course, is the Mackenzie Scott funding that the president has allocated about $1 million, $1.5 million for this Innovation Award. And so right now, we're in April. There'll be an announcement of the Innovation Award to the university community. Preparation workshop for proposal submissions. So we want to make sure that the individuals, whether it's faculty, staff, or students who are interested in putting in an application or proposal, understand how they do it and what that process will look like. Proposals should be submitted in June, and then the committee will be actually working over the summer to review the actual proposals. And we're looking at those projects beginning in September of 2021. Any questions?
I was to say that's a great use of some of the funds, since innovation is what created those funds too. So that's great.
And I'm excited because part of the criteria for the proposals, they'll have to align with the strategic plan. So the innovation align with the strategic plan.
I'm excited about this. I look forward to hearing what proposals come through and how they progress. Thank you, Dr. Paul.
Thank you. Next, I'm going to have Regina Barnett-Tyler come forward.
Great morning, all. Happy Thursday.
Good morning. Thank you.
Always a pleasure to be here with you, Madam Chair, and for other board members. Thank you all so much. Like Dr. Palm said and Dr. Cole, we've had a great semester, and it's hard to believe that we only have 26 days, 1 hour, and 39 minutes and 14 seconds left until May 18th, 12 noon. Not that I'm counting, just thought that, you might want to know that information. So it's been great. My colleagues are chuckling. But we have had a really great semester, and I am so honored to be part of this Student Success and Engagement team. So we want to talk about a few things to provide you some updates. We have had several face-to-face events, and we're really excited about that. We'll talk a little bit more about that. For my particular area, we are still working to provide the best service that we can to our Trojans, and by activating the Trojan Cares response team whenever we have positive COVID cases on our campus. And so just as a reminder, if we do have a student that has a positive COVID test, they are moved to the isolation quarantine space, and the Trojan Cares response team is activated. And that team is made up of Academic Center for Excellence so that we can notify their students, professors about them being in the quarantine space. Facilities that also sanitizes their primary room, and as well as the areas within the isolation quarantine space. Housing actually activates by providing the room number in the quarantine space. Thompson Hospitality provides the meals to our students, as well as deliver the food kits. The Trojan One card has recently been added. We found a gap as we continue to assess that when the students move into isolation, their One card is actually not being shut off while they're there because their meals are being delivered to the residence hall. So we did include Ms. Ramonia Forsyth and the Trojan One card to the team, and then the usual university counseling services and student health services so that they can provide the additional care that the students need while they are in isolation and quarantine space. And I would like to take a personal point of privilege to thank Thompson Hospitality in particular, because we've had large numbers of students in quarantine that required us to deliver meals to more than one residence hall, and this has been a heavy lift. And they have been phenomenal in preparing meals for all of our students, delivering them 3 meals a day, 5 days a week, 2 meals a day on the weekend, to ensure that the students have good, healthy meals and are taking care of them while they are in isolation. And so this was somewhat prepared for, but when you have a larger number of people, this certainly is going above and beyond the call of duty. We, for our space, the only thing that we really needed to do in this space, because I feel really good about the planning, we needed to order additional linen, which is not much, but we have enough linen that would be able to serve 200 people. So we're really feeling really good about that. So we have ordered additional so that, just so that we can have them, we won't run out. And we did make a second adjustment to how we deliver food kits to off-campus housing. That got to be also a heavy lift because we don't have enough staff to be able to accommodate some of the deliveries because this is not their primary job. So we actually moved the food kits into the COVID testing center so that if a student is off campus and they test, they can actually take their food kits with them. So the idea behind that is to make sure that they don't have to leave their homes or apartments to get food. They have enough food to sustain them for the 14 days. So we're really proud about that. But that, again, we continue to assess the weekly of the needs that we need to make for our Trojans. We've been quite active as always. You know, student success and engagement is always busy. So last month, we were able to celebrate Women's History Month, and there were a variety of activities, and I have some flyers at the end. But we wanted to make sure that all of our Trojans were celebrated, to include our trans women. So that's why we spell Women's History Month with an X. We also celebrated Trans Day of Visibility on March 31st and had a really cool activity to celebrate our Vice President of the United States with Chucks and Pearls Day. And we created a resolution in honor of that. So the last day, we literally kicked it off with Chucks and Pearls. So we're excited about that. The team was excited to be able to support Mr. Harris in our effort to have the COVID vaccines on campus. And so for the 2 weekends that the VDH was in charge, we provided the volunteers and all of the services like golf carts for people that had physical limitations to walk far distances. So we had a great cohort of volunteers to assist with that effort, and we were really happy to support it. We brought back a program called the Trojan Girls Rock Award, which was a celebration that was here about 4 or 5 years ago that celebrates faculty, staff, and students for their outstanding contributions to Virginia State University. And we started out small, and we're really excited about that. First Lady Dr. Kaba Abdullah was on the planning committee, and I'm honored to say that we have several people in leadership that are Trojan Girls who rock, one being Dr. Gwen Dandridge, and who is here, and there were quite several others, and we're going to post that list sometime very soon. So we were very excited to bring that back. As a reminder, the Trojan Spirit Fund is still very active, and that was the fund established by Institutional Advancement to support students in need with emergency funds. And so for the past 2 months, I think we've had 2 actual applications to support our Trojans that needed some additional financial assistance. So we're excited about that. The cohort, we have a small cohort that is actually trying to plan what Homecoming 2021 is going to look like, and I'll talk about that shortly with some of the activities that we are proposing. Here it is. And I will not bore you with all of the details, but kind of give you an idea of what we're looking at. We're looking at the traditional activities that we had from previous years. Those things that are highlighted in green are things that we think could be converted to virtual if we needed to convert over to a virtual format, and we're going to continue on. The one thing highlighted in yellow was a proposal, and so we will talk about that more as we as it becomes more realistic in our planning. So to kind of give you just a couple of updates for the areas within student success and engagement, residence life and housing is starting to receive applications for the fall 21-22 semester. Right now we have 167 full-time, first-time freshmen who have completed their housing applications and their deposits. So we're excited about that. And that was as of Monday, so I'm sure it has increased by now. And we have 213 returning students who have completed their housing applications for the fall. And as Dr. Palm indicated a few minutes ago, we are planning to have face-to-face classes, which means we are planning to operate in full capacity. Of course, this may change depending upon changes in COVID and whatever the CDC guidelines, but today we are planning to operate in full capacity. And we did discuss earlier this week that it is easier to house in double occupancy and change to single than to house single and have to convert to double. So we are going to be housing very soon with double occupancy. Reverend Graham and Campus Ministries are continuing their services and doing an outstanding job. They actually provided thank you notes during Women's History Month to some of our unsung heroes on campus, and they also were instrumental in assisting with grief counseling at the passing of our colleague, Mr. DeAndre Neal. Community engagement continues to serve the community as well as Virginia State University. We're excited we received we received one gift from ECMC, a $10,000 grant for the food pantry. And we have submitted another $12,000 grant to Food Lion to also assist the food pantry. So we are looking at possibly installing a refrigeration unit in the area, because one of the things that the discussions that we had is that the non-perishables are good, but we want to make sure that we are incorporating fresh fruits and vegetables for our Trojans in this community. And in order to do that, we're going to have refrigeration. So that's one of the plans that we're going to have for that. And we continue to support the Chesterfield County Alumni Association in the food distribution, their partnership with the food bank, and this is a phenomenal service that we have. We actually had to relocate from the multipurpose center parking lot because of the vaccination event. So we are now in Rogers Stadium, and so this past weekend was the first time we were in that area. But we continue to serve the surrounding community of Virginia State University as well as our students. Student activities is probably some of the busiest units on campus, and I think last week was the last week. Most of our Greek letter organizations have completed their membership intake process. This was the first time that the membership intake process was 100% virtual. There were no complaints of hazing, no incidents of any sort, so we are really excited about that process. So there are a lot of different colors going on campus this week. One in particular today, and I'm going to short my presentation. So our Royal Court pageant is this Sunday, so we are excited about that. That event is going to be face-to-face. So the candidates are excited about being able to present face-to-face. Last week was spring fling, and we had several face-to-face activities, very successful. We had a pep rally for all of athletics because we have been unable to do that this year. There was a comedy show, and there was another event that eludes me at this point, but I have that information. So we're really excited about that. The Trojan Leadership Program is a program that we're trying to restructure, and we're really excited about that. So we're working on an actual Trojan leadership curriculum so that our Trojans can have some really good leadership training to add to their co-curricular transcript. And we are also partnering with Mr. Hall and his team to assist with face-to-face orientation, to provide training for the Trojan Introductory Program leadership, and hope that we can continue that partnership when we have Welcome Week in the fall. The TRIO programs are continuing to serve the low-income first-generation students, and we're excited. On Monday, we're going to have the ribbon cutting for the official student support services space in the library. So we are happy to have that program back on campus. I think I've discussed that before. And we do have our 6-month checkup at the end of this month with the U.S. Department of Education. We are a little behind. I think Mr. Hall did allude to some of our numbers are quite low in some areas, but we're confident that we can serve the numbers that we have slated to, which is 140. The TRIO programs are also going to look at conducting FAFSAs in the community to try to provide some face-to-face services for people that may be struggling with that function. And so if any of you have ever done a FAFSA, we have a level of education that makes us a little bit more comfortable, but this task is often very daunting, and we want to make sure that our low-income first-generation parents and parents who English is not their first language can really get some assistance. And one of our colleagues has become the state president for our state association for the TRIO programs. In student conduct, I provided you some data so that you could see the number of cases and the classifications of our Trojans. Two things I want to point out. One was a Title IX case, and then the other is that there were 11, as of early this week, cases of the Stop the Spread Agreement. So if you remember, the Stop the Spread Agreement was a document that all Trojans had to complete and sign when they came in, to promise that they will wear their masks, safely socially distant, and follow all of the protocols. And there have been approximately 11 violations of that. So with that, there have been the restorative justice processes to include community service, fines, writing of an essay, and those types of punishments. So we want to make sure that the students understand why it's important for them to do the things that we've asked. And then for career services that continues to serve in an exciting way, this couple of months ago, they actually had the first Entrepreneurial Expo, and that was an outstanding program. It was so passionate, and I was able to attend, and we were really excited about having that discussion for our children to know how they can also begin to start looking at owning their own businesses. And I think Mr. Lyons presented about the Grow with Google program, where we have 46 students enrolled in that. We actually have 2 students that have completed the Grow with Google program and have received their certifications. So here are just some pictures of things that we've done. We talked about Women's History Month, and there are flyers there. At the Trust and Pearls Day, there are a few pictures here in the Spring Fling and some about the career services activities that were launched. So just wanted to provide you some visuals of the social media that we actually do and the flyers that go out on campus. And then finally, I am pleased to announce that our SGA elections have been completed for the 21-22 academic year. You may recognize this gentleman. He has won for the second term. Mr. Cameron Gray will be our president again for next year. Mr. Yusuf Omir will be the executive vice president. Destiny Crowders will be the vice president for academic affairs. Michaela Coles will be the vice president for student success and engagement. Mckay McKinney will be the vice president for administration. And this one at the bottom, I do apologize, I cannot see that. And that concludes my report for you, Madam Chair, for student success and engagement. Are there any questions for me or things that I can answer for you?
Thank you so much for all of you and your team's efforts. I appreciate everything that's going on, and there clearly seems to be a lot going on. I know this has been a total pivot in the way you have to do business in keeping our students engaged and taking care of our students. So truly appreciate your all's innovation and your dedication. Are there any other questions or comments? Okay, hearing none. Dr. Palm, do you want to take it back over and sort of lay out what we talked about doing going forward, given that we're doing technology? Mr. Harris, are you?
Yeah, Mr. Harris will go, and then I'll go ahead and take over from there.
Okay, sounds good. Mr. Harris, good to see you.
Good to see everyone.
And thank you for helping me restart my computer and do all the things that I needed to do to be part of the meeting today. I apologize for putting you on the spot.
No problem. I have to compete with Travis from time to time to show him that the old still can run.
You do just fine, sir.
All right. Good morning, everyone. First, I'm going to talk about the work effort that Dr. Zoe Spencer has been doing with the community activists and with the various police departments throughout the region. Dr. Spencer, who is a professor and our former faculty senate chair, she's a professor over in the sociology and criminal justice department. What she's been doing was there was an anticipation coming out of some of the riots from last summer that leading up to the George Floyd jury decision, that there may have been some adverse activities that may have occurred. So she took a proactive approach to basically get the community activists as well as the police departments to come to campus on April 10th and talk about what we can do to prevent the community from having a negative reaction to whatever the verdict may be. So we met on the 10th of April and again on yesterday with various organizations that you see listed below. All of the area police departments, to include the Virginia State Police, various faith-based and community activists were also present. and Senator Morrissey has participated. I'm actually was substituting for our dear provost, who is very, very busy, so he asked me to pinch hit for him, and I've attended the last couple of meetings on his behalf. Dr. Spencer really does a very good job of working with the police departments and the activists, and some of the goals of the group, as you see, is to promote the safety and effective de-escalation strategies for the community members. And so although the community received the proper verdict considering what took place in Minneapolis, the next phase is to work on education, right? And to educate the law enforcement and community activists on the proper use of force, police tactics, and other law enforcement policies with the intent to eliminate any implicit cultural and racial bias. And so I want to commend Dr. Spencer for the work that she's doing, and the university administration, we will continue to assist her going forward. Next, I want to talk about COVID-19 emergency response. The university has been an active partner with the Virginia Department of Health and the Virginia Department of Emergency Management in vaccinating Virginia. I'm going to go into a little bit more detail on that. On the university side, again, I want to thank my colleague, Dr. Palm and Dr. Corley, for their work in ensuring that we are able to actually get the community vaccinated. We established held two clinics in the multipurpose center for the Crater Health District, and that was the March 6th and 13th. And then we found out that the MPC was selected to become a FEMA vaccination site on March 15th. With the work of Ms. Gwen Wayne-Dandridge, we held our press conference, and she'll tell you more about that in her presentation. And the site at the MPC is managed by a third-party vendor that is working on behalf of VDEM, which is the Virginia Department of Emergency Management. The first doses of vaccine was provided on March 17th, and I'll go into detail on the statistics of how many people have been vaccinated. And we found out that they have extended usage through the end of May 31st. They were due to end on April 30th, but with the loss of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, they had to extend additional time. And also we'll talk a little bit about the deployment of the mobile health clinics as part of the Public Health Institute to the health districts. Okay. On the statistics side, there are two health districts that the MPC site is supporting. It's the Crater Health District, which is comprised of the city of Petersburg, Hopewell, Emporia, and the counties of Dinwiddie, Prince George, Sussex, Surrey, and Greenville counties. And I think I may have left out the city of Emporia. As of December 20th, 203,000 citizens in the district have been vaccinated. That's through December 2020 when they started vaccinating. At the MPC, which really started on March 6th, over 74,391 citizens have been vaccinated. So by far, comparison-wise, it's the largest vaccination center in the Commonwealth. Next, let me go back for a second. So we do have some work to do. As you can see, when we look at the population, and even though the Virginia Department of Health lists 10-year-olds, we all know that 10-year-olds cannot get vaccinated. So if you look at that number being 16 and above, we have a considerable amount of work to do to get younger students as well as citizens vaccinated. There's a lot of work that needs to be done there. And we're going to be rolling out the Vaccinate VSU campaign starting next week to push to get as many students vaccinated before the end of the semester. In a meeting that I had with the health department yesterday, even though we know that we're close to the end of the semester, The health directors, Dr. Samuel and Dr. Hart, respectively, that's Chesterfield and Greater Health District directors. The Pfizer vaccine, which is being provided in the MPC, is 89% effective with a single dose. And so we believe that we can get the students vaccinated with a single dose, get seniors vaccinated with 2 doses before graduation and before they go home. With the plan of using Vaccine Finder for the students who have left and went home to get their second dose in their home district, health district. Okay, next, we have the vaccination by race and ethnicity. This is something that Visitor Richardson asked us to keep tabs on, and the statewide average for African Americans is 13.7%, but with the work that we're doing in the MPC, we're seeing that we're actually trending ahead of the rest of the Commonwealth, with 20% of the African Americans being vaccinated with the things that we're doing in the MPC. Next, we have vaccination by gender. As usual, women tend to do a better job than us guys, and they're actually getting vaccinated at a higher rate than we are. And so, gentlemen, we have to step up our game, not only with this, but with other men's health issues. Daily counts, the anticipated goal when we set up the center was that we would scale to 6,000 doses a day. However, with the supply being capped, we have basically received approximately 3,000 doses on a given day. You see this low spike down around April 1st. We started to see that the citizens in the 2 districts had dropped off, and that is when we started vaccinating employees, and then it started to rise back up, and we basically been meeting the daily goals within the center. The mobile clinics. We're providing assistance to the Greater and Chesterfield Health Districts, and the goal with the mobile clinics how they're being used is that they're going out and they're vaccinating elderly and mobile and migrant and folks in some of the rural areas. And then post-COVID, we plan to use the mobile clinics as part of the Public Health Institute that Dr. Boyd and Dr. Palm spoke of earlier. And we have arrangements because a lot of our K-12 students, because of the pandemic, they're missing their childhood immunizations. So we know that we're behind, and what we don't want is to have problems with other areas in the post-COVID world where vaccinations could have solved them. So we know that we need to work with the districts to get those counts back up. Coming out of, this is, again, piggybacking on Dr. Palm's message of why there's a Public Health Institute. We previously had a one-day program called VSU Cares, which basically we partnered with the Mission of Mercy folks and the Cooperative Extension to provide a one-day medical care program. We know that there's a lot of health disparities within our community, hence why we are launching our Public Health Institute and moving into VSU becoming a community health partner, as exhibited by what we're doing in the multipurpose center with the vaccination clinic. So much so that as the slide that you see online, that CNN actually featured the VSU Multipurpose Center one Saturday morning. I just was happening to be looking at the news, and up comes the VSU Multipurpose Center. I think that there is a lot of recognition of the work that the Public Health Institute is doing and becoming an established health partner within the region. Also, the Greater Health District, Dr. Alton Hart, he regularly appears on WVST radio station talking to members of the community, and we'll be assisting Dr. Hart with moving that to become a podcast so that the Greater Health District can actually reach a broader audience. Next. Post-COVID-19 community health via the VSU Public Health Institute. A lot of this is a rehash of what Dr. Boyd and Dr. Palm has expressed in terms of the mission of outside of the academic programs that they discussed earlier, and the ability to provide women's health, men's health. There's a lot of need for breast cancer awareness as well as prostate awareness, working with the community for HIV and STD screening, diabetes, and cardiovascular awareness and blood pressure screening, and all the other health issues that come with our community, and making sure that, you know, we're educating folks and providing the necessary screening and awareness to ensure that we have a healthy and vibrant community. And I finally mentioned the childhood immunizations, because the K-12 students, they are behind, and working with the health districts, the Health Institute intends to help them catch up on that. Okay, transitioning over to the crime statistics. Last year was kind of an anomaly because we released the students back in about the third week of March. And so from the clarity report, we didn't really have a whole lot of things due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Year to date for 2021, we have had 3 incidents to date. We get the report for April, the first week of May, so I don't have that data for you yet. And with that, this is a picture of me holding my back right before I had back surgery in January, and so I'll open up for questions that you have.
Well,
Thank you so much. Appreciate everything that's going on. I wanted to congratulate you all, Dr. Spencer, on being proactive and working with the community activists and the public safety entities prior to the decision, and just as an ongoing thing. I'm glad you said you met also yesterday. So that's an important role that Virginia State can play, and I'm pleased to see that we're doing that. And I know Dr. Spencer is quite dynamic, and I'm sure she's doing a great job with that. Your crime statistics, that's going to be quite the anomaly as you go forward, trying to do any longitudinal comparisons and trend analysis. I don't envy everybody trying to do that. Are there any questions from members of the committee? We covered a lot of ground there.
Madam Chair, this is Charlie Hill. I don't have a question specifically for Mr. Harris, but I would like to say to all of the presenters today, they took me down a path of memory lane when Virginia State used to have a prominence throughout the state for its academic as well as community sensitivities. And that surfaced with most, if not all, of the presentations today. And I would like to just salute all of the folk who are directly and indirectly involved in that. I only have one other concern, and again, it's not about Mr. Harris's subject matter, and that is I remain concerned about plans for inclement weather for commencement exercises because of the senior citizens. I know the young folk, the students will be fine if it rains or snows in May, but I'm concerned about senior citizens and folks who are otherwise immobile who will want to be there, and how we deal with that if and when it becomes necessary. So that concerns me.
Yeah, if Dr. Palm, if you don't mind. So because we just received word from the Department of Emergency Management that they're going to be vacating the multipurpose center on May 31st. So the team will go back and look at if we could potentially set up for inclement weather for our seniors and people with mobility issues, that they can view the ceremony in the MPC. We'll take a look at that.
I'm feeling better. I'm feeling better just with your comments, sir.
Okay.
And you'll keep us apprised of how that proceeds, I'm sure.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other questions or comments?
All right, thank you.
Thank you so much. And I'm glad your back is feeling better.
All right. Yeah, Dr. Plum held me down and twisted my neck and everything.
Thank you. Okay, Dr. Palm, do you want to help us through what we should and can't do virtually and what we will carry over till tomorrow for the committee?
Yes, Visitor Curry. Right now, we're going to, I guess while everybody is here, go ahead and do one of the actual action items with the Masters of Education online. I would like to make a recommendation for you to present that to the board. Then work with Dr. Red. We're going to go into a closed session, and we will do the closed session dealing with some of the action items that are dealing with some of the personnel issues with regards to tenure and promotion and all those different items as well. So Dr. Red, I'll go ahead and how should we proceed after this particular action item?
Ms. Curry?
Yes.
Excuse me. After Dr. Palm presents the information on the degree, we will need to take about a 10-minute break for the technical team to prepare for the closed session.
Okay.
So what I can do is after Dr. Palm makes his information, shares his information about the degree, I can go ahead and begin reading the motion for the closed session, but then take a 10-minute break so that the technical team can prepare. And then I will come back and know when we're ready.
So during the 10-minute break, we would suggest that everybody just mute and stop video, but stay on.
Yes,
Okay.
except the board members. The board members.
Yes, for the board members.
And our legal counsel. But the names will be the motions that I read. Those people will stay on, and then everyone else will vacate the physical room here at the Gateway as well as the virtual room in the WebEx. So that's why we need 10 minutes to make sure only those persons who will be invited will be in both rooms, the virtual and the physical room.
Okay.
Okay? And we will also pause the live stream.
Okay. All right.
So, Visitor Curry, the first action item that I would like to present to the board as a recommendation for approval is our Masters of Education online. And this is actually just proposed a simple modification of an online delivery option for the Masters of Education degree program in education. The curriculum will remain the same as the face-to-face program, requiring 36 credit hours, graduate level courses, and an internship. So the program remains the same as the original degree program approved by SHEV in its entirety. So I'm actually presenting that as a recommendation for approval by the board.
Do I hear a motion for the approval of the Masters of Education in online?
Madam Chair, I approve, or I'm not, make a motion that we approve the master program that Dr. Palm just presented.
Thank you, Mr. Hill. Do I have a second? Is there a second?
I second. This is Greg Worley.
Thank you, Mr. Worley.
I'm having problems with this microphone, so I'm trying to switch up. So apologize.
Oh, tell me about it. I've had my issues today. All right. So a second by Mr. Worley. We'd like a roll call, Dr. Red?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Ms. Curry?
Yes.
Dr. Darden?
Yes.
Mr. Hill?
Yes.
Mr. Murray?
I believe Mr. Murray had to leave the meeting.
Mr. Richardson? and Mr. Worley?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And it sounded to me as if it was approved. So we'll hand it back to Dr. Palm and Dr. Red. And is this the appropriate time to sign off, not sign off, to mute?
Well, I will read the motion first.
Okay.
And as I'm reading, we ask the persons in the physical room here who are not invited to please leave. And the persons who are in the virtual room to please sign off and then we will send you an email to invite you to return. On behalf of the chair, I move that the board convene a closed meeting pursuant to section 2.2-3711, section A1, and 2.2-3711, sections A11 of the Code of Virginia for discussion or consideration of promotion and tenure, sabbatical leave of specific university employees and/or honorary degrees and/or special awards, specifically commencement. Additionally, I move that President Mcclain M. Abdullah, Ms. Deborah Love, our Senior Assistant Attorney General, Dr. Donald Palm, Dr. Anthony Red, Board Liaison, Ms. Cherie King Casey, attend the closed meeting because their presence in the closed meeting is deemed necessary and/or their presence will aid the board in its consideration of this matter. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Red. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Richardson. Do we have a second?
Second, Charlie Hill.
Thank you, Mr. Hill. Dr. Red?
At this time, we will take about a 10-minute break for the technical team to prepare for the closed session. Thank you.
All right, so that looks like we'd come back at about 11:10. If everybody wants to mute themselves and stop your video for privacy. Thank you.